Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let me get rid of that. Good morning. It's Jackie Glass, Mama, Navy Vet, certified doer, and the laced up legislator for the House of Delegates, 93rd District. Honored to be here, grateful to serve. Got a lot going on. So glad to have you all here. Let me just get the gratitudes out of the way. Thank you all for all the folks that came to Kicks and Cocktail. This will be a regular thing for us. Um, just a way for us to engage with you. Very low hanging fruit. I want to just say, like, I am so proud of all the community members this past week that have hopefully made some beautiful connections. I didn't expect it at one event, but there were so many people for the environment there. I was like, what? I didn't plan this. You can't plan these spaces where people connect. So thank you all for coming out. Thank you for your contributions. And then we had summer school. So I just want to shout out all the folks that came out to summer school, which is a whole thing. Yeah, I didn't go the way I wanted to. My team was like, stop debriefing and defecating on your work. This is the first time we did it live, so there was a lot of bumps in the road, but I was super grateful to be in share space with very knowledgeable people, curious. That's our goal here, is to stay open and stay curious and lead from a place of doer. Kristen Wheeler on Instagram says, summer school is awesome. I know, but you don't know you don't see what I see. Good morning, Mr. Little. So grateful to have you here. Good morning, Derek. But yes, so summer school, super grateful to be able to do summer school, to be a part. I actually am about to, let me do this internet wise, because I don't want us to get cracked up internet wise. I already know how it works. How sometimes my internet gets shaky back here and when I'm back in the craft room. At any rate, so I'm going to go through a couple things we have going on. I'm going to put up my link tree because I want you to, if I can find it, how about that? Change my name to Linktree so that you all can make sure that you get to us if you want to stay in the know on what's going on. We're working. The next thing we have coming up here is August 10th. August 10th at Northside Park, 10 o'clock, we'll be having Certified Doer Field Day. So again, that's just a day we just kick it in. We're just going to have a good time. We got some community members that we need to acknowledge, some doers that have been getting more done. Some folks that we have some commending resolutions. So our goal is to really just honor, celebrate, and just have a good time before the kids go back to school on the 9th, before you have to get your head back in the game because after post Labor Day, y'all, it be on. It's going to be on. When I say like post Labor Day, it gets real. These elections and everything are about to start rolling down. Good day, Miss Charlene. But it's going to be real. Stephanie. What I also want to do, and then on the 20th of August, we have what's called our policy roundtables. We will be having a policy roundtable on AI, and we're honestly, you guys, I'm still trying to figure out what direction I want to go in with AI, because it's so massive. There's so many different things, so many different areas that we can sort of dig into. But we know we'll be in the realms of AI. I don't know if it'll be in voice usage or prosecutorial terms of it, but why do I have this banner going? But I know that we 100% will be doing that on the 20th at 6 p.m. That is only an hour long. That is a kitchen table conversation about how we do better. Kristen said the ethics of AI. Maybe. What it also depends on is the kind of people that we get to the table. That's really gonna make a difference. I think that's the right one. That's really gonna make a difference of who we're able to bring to the table. I want to put this in y'all's ear. If you know anyone that is under the age of 14 by January 1st, right, by the first of the year, we have this program called the PAGE program. I need y'all to be on the lookout. If you know some young people that are 14 and under, they come up to the Capitol, they work, they get paid good money. I think sometimes they make anywhere between $2,000 and $3,000 and $5,000 a session. room and board, all that good stuff. It's a state program it's called the PAGE program. So if you look up PAGE's General Assembly, those applications are going to be coming out in August. So I need us to wrap our minds around those now. So if you got young people, this is the time to be looking into it so they can get their letters of recommendation. Letters of recommendation. I need to be receiving letters of recommendation. I need to be being asked for letters of recommendation so I can choose who it is that I know I want to put forth. So when those applications come out, we've already done our process of interviewing and really pushing for the young person from our district that we'd like to come up and be a PAGE. On August 20th, that is a virtual roundtable. That should be the first pinned to the top of on Instagram. All the roundtables are listed there, pinned to the top of our page. How do they apply for the PAGE program? It is a email in application. If you Google PAGE, and I think let me make sure that I take a look and get that out to you. PAGE program, and I'll get you the actual thing. So it is, wow. Okay. It's a long email address, but I'm going to put it out there. Instagram, it's going to be a little weird for you. I would just say Google it because that's probably the easiest way to do it. But this is the PAGE program for you. I thoroughly enjoy it. We take care of these kids as best we can. This year will be the first year my daughter's old enough to apply, but she can't do it in the house because she's my kid. So I'm hopeful that she'll apply for the Senate PAGE program. So they work in both the House and the Senate. I want to see all kinds of young people there. And there is also a group online called the Youth Advocate Initiative, and they are working to make sure they tell folks about the PAGE program and all that stuff. Like it's worth it. It's worth it. And yes, it's worth all of that and then some. So there's that. I'm doing an ask. I'm making sure I do this ask is that if you've interfaced with our office in a very meaningful way, or if you appreciate the work that we do, we ask that you put us in your budget. What I realize is there's not going to be a lot of emphasis on Norfolk come this national election, but there's some work that we're going to be doing. So if you're interested in getting to work on Doers or whatever that is, reach out to the office. I've got a plan that'll be rolling out next week of what we can do. It costs to do this work. So I'm asking everyone that for 2025, put us in your budget for $25 a month if you can. So if you can spare $25 a month to a recurring donation to us, we would greatly appreciate it. What it helps me do is it helps me keep a great staff. This go round, we are really trying to organize for what we have city council and we have city council, school board, and our mayoral elections, as well as everyone has the Senate race, the U.S. Senate race and presidential race. If you conceptualize what happened way back when, a lot of the issues that we were seeing started at the school board level. It started at the local level. You had school boards that were doing book bans and, all kind, like it started at school board level. And then you had cities that were operating differently and then trickled its way up and back down, right? So the immediate thing for us is, while I am in a state level office, I understand having a good relationship with my school board and school system, my city council, mayor, and our local government makes all the difference in the kind of work that we're able to do at the state level. And so we want good partners. We want good people that want to do good work on your behalf, so that when you have that issue with your trash, while it is not something that I can control, I can support you in getting that thing done. And if that support of direction of self-directing you to get it done, that we know you have a good partner in the local government that's going to walk you through, that means so much. To me, as a person who's been a part of this, I'm somebody's constituent too, but to me, isn't in the business of taking care of people. That's what we're in the business of. Kristen says, okay, where do they apply? I gave you that. Where's a good place to donate? So my link tree up here is a great place. You can go to delegatejackyglass.com. That's delegatejackyglass.com if you want to support. I'm asking, put us for 2025, put us in your budget for $25 a month. We will more than I can tell you. My goal before we go to session is to release a transparency statement so you can see where all of the money, all of the funding that we get, where it goes. I can tell you it's really just to keep good staff. It's really to keep good staff to do good work. But we have other things, organizational things that we pay for, like our Zooms, our StreamYards, and things like that to keep the office going. But yes, that's where you can go to donate, and it's also scrolling across the screen. If you go to screen, if you go to our delegatejackieglass.com, you can also sign up, let the doers join the certified doers. That'll give you access to our updates that we put out, our newsletter when we put it out, and things like that. So the things outside of social, if you may. What else? There are rumors swirling. I don't know yet about a possibility of me having to go back to Richmond in October for skill games. I haven't seen any legislation, so I believe it when I see it. Right, there's supposed to be some skill games legislation. If you guys aren't aware of skill games, those are those games that you see in the 7-Elevens, the stores, and things like that. There has been a back and forth quite a bit about whether or not they should be here or not. And they've been trying to legalize them, and some folks trying to get rid of them. So we should see some legislation. They were preemptively being told that there might be some. I can't say for sure one way or another. I'm just standing by. For what's next. Oh, Kristen, you said summer school. Yes. So I think I'm looking at the comments, sorry, on both sides. What I think you're talking about is we're going to do a bill workshop. We didn't get to, in summer school and transitioning, in summer school, we didn't get to do a whole lot of work on like building bills. There's a lot more interactivity that I didn't get a chance to do with the folks that joined. So my goal is to do an actual bill workshop so that we can work towards the things that we're doing. But I'm going to tell you, if you want to network, you want to meet people, our events are the way to do that. When we do kicks and cocktails, there should be another one coming up this month. Now that we're in August, we'll try to do that. Like, I'm trying to make that a monthly thing. It's a fundraiser, but it's also a way we connect doers. I'm amazed. I'm like, can I get your number? Can we add you to our list of folks? Our goal is we add people to the list and we get ready for the 25. And please put your questions, your comments, anything that you want in the chat. That this is your space. Remember that this is your space. Our goal always is to get our legislative agenda out by October 31st, Halloween, right? Halloween is the day to put out to you what we have on our docket. That is why I make certain during this time to say, hey, we really need you to tell us what you're thinking about. We really need us to help guide, because this is when we're building legislation. If you wait until October, it makes it a little bit more difficult. We did a policy pitch contest, and while we didn't have any policy that was ready for prime time or that had all the things we needed to say, yeah, thumbs up, I definitely need to share that. It was a great exercise in seeing what people were on their mind. We had a young person, a teenager, ask about establishing policies for more interactive teacher engagement and disciplinary issues in the school. We had one about the prison. I learned so much about the prison industrial complex, like enterprise. We had one about social services. It was just, and one about, how we prevent people from being making people be impoverished based off of the way we calculate child support, and like how there's a balance there. Very, very, very important issues that what matters to you, it may not even be on my radar, because it may be something that you're dealing with that I've never interfaced with. And that is the beauty of this, right? That is why it's so important for us to engage in some way, shape, or form. Thank you, Kirsten. Kirsten said, I learned so much, looking forward to more adult civic education opportunities. And know that when we do these, we appreciate when little citizens are a part. There are adults in the room, but the things that we're talking about are just the way our our city, our country, our state operate, and there's no wrong time to learn that. There's no wrong time to learn that. With that, understanding how we operate, I did mention before about the relationship between state and local government and state and federal government, and how those things have to mesh well. I feel like I must say this as I came to this position as a very, and it may be my military experience, very objective about how we take care of people. From a place of is like I put people over party, right? The people I serve. I don't know what many of the people I serve. I don't know their political affiliation. It does not matter to me. I know that sometimes we share values and sometimes we don't. And I know that the first time that I got involved in running for office was at the school board level. And in that race, it was extremely difficult because I believe my daughter was probably 6 or 7 years old, and I think my son was in maybe 12 or 13. So it was a super struggle to like be able to show up. I always had kids with me. It was just a thing. But the only nastiness I dealt with was like, people messing with my signs and things like that. Like it was just those were the sort of the ugly things that we saw. Um, it wasn't until I ran for delegate that I think many of my military experiences sort of got drudged up and I had to sort of deal with some trauma. When I ran for delegate, there was a huge sign that the other party, the Republican Party, put up at all the polling stations to include my son's school that essentially said that I am going to bring prostitution here. And the way it wrote it, the way they had it written on the sign, if you can't see it, if you're looking at it from a distance, it said Jackie Glass prostitution. And it made it seem like it was really one of the weirdest things that I'm using their thing. It was really odd. It was really strange. And the first thing that I think I did was I called my son because I checked on his high school was one of the polling stations. Is I called my son and I said, hey, there's going to be a sign in front of your school. It's going to say some unkind things about me. I just want you to be aware. I don't want you to feel any kind of way. I want you to understand that like, this is what happens when we get in. This is why I didn't want to do party politics, but this is what happens is that it is sometimes a by any means necessary. I still have one of those signs. I actually asked the Republican Party, I got lipstick on my hand, so I'm not bleeding. I asked them if I could have one just as a reminder of how ugly people can get. And when I walk in and I do this work, I will tell you that it doesn't matter where you sit, that a layer of racism, a layer of sexism still exists in our changer. It's still, Kristen said, what? I'd call the cops. Clarification, adults, as last time, some of us, it's so refreshing. She was clarifying. No, I just wanted to add on that to what you were saying, that it is adult. As adults, sometimes we don't get that grace to not know. We don't get that grace to still learn about just the way life works and the way government works. And I think that we should create spaces where we give that grace to each other. And we also, educate, advocate, celebrate, legislate for real. So I'm watching what's happening right now, right? Like I'm really watching what's happening with the presidential election and being very triggered and very a little angst sometimes about what is being said and what is not being said. For example, while I was in the Navy, I came in, and in 1 year of my career, I went from being an E2 to an E5, which is not normal, right? It's just not a normal thing. It's because I was eligible for an exam. I was eligible for an advancement exam to go up to E4 because I became an E3 at the right point. So I'm like just on the cutoff to be able to take an exam to go to the next rate for time and rate. And and I took that exam and I didn't make it. I didn't. I didn't because it was a very difficult exam, like difficult for people that had my job to advance. What happened was is I worked my ass off. Like I was working really hard as an E2, new to my ship, or barely knew E3, working on my ship, and my chain of command decided to put me into what's called a CAP program, a command advancement program. So they said, hey, like she is doing really well. We know that it's hard to advance in this rating. We would like to meritoriously promote her. Yeah. And I was shocked because I was fairly new, right? Kind of new. And I had to leave the ship because my dad was dying. My dad died. I flew back to the ship. It was just all the things. It's like, how do I even deserve this? Imposter syndrome, not even looking back then. Like I was working my butt off. I ended up getting capped, which made me eligible for the next exam. It gave me time and rate to be able to take the E5 exam in that September. And I took the E5 exam. I passed it and I was advanced. And I worked really hard. I'm just going to keep saying that to remind myself that I worked really hard. When I went to my next duty station, to actually teach the job that I did, there were not a lot of Black women that do cryptology, period. That's just a thing. I was fortunate enough to see one very clearly when I was in A school, but never really had that fortune as I went on in my career. That just wasn't, I was the only Black person no, we had two other men, but I was in a rate of weird people. Let me not belabor the point, but when I went to my next duty station, I made the next rank very quickly. Probably a couple months after I got to that duty station, I advanced to the next rank. I assumed some roles, went back to school. I immediately went back to school because I was on shore duty. My son was 6 months old. I'm working, I'm grinding, I'm doing take advantage of all the things because I don't know if I want to do this. And we had a gentleman come in who had been in the Navy for 17 years at the time. And I'm running the curriculum for my division, everything. And he is frustrated with the way that not frustrated. He just always gave me a lot of bad lip, always just disgruntled towards me. But I gave him a section of our curriculum to do that dealt with air crew because that's what he did. And he pulls me aside one day and he says, you know what? He said, I've got more sea time, meaning he has more time underway than you have in the Navy. By that time, I think I've been in for 7 years, maybe 6 or 7, maybe it was 5 or 6 years. And he said, I got more sea time than you've been in the Navy, and you're probably going to advance before me because you're Black and you're a woman. And it was so nasty. It was so nasty. He was like, it's just because you're Black. I bet you'll make chief before me because you're Black and you're a woman. And that's how they do it. It's like, never mind all that work, right? Never mind any of that. And there are people that will believe that no matter what. There is nothing that I can do. There is no work. There's no resume that I can build that will shift some people's ideology that anything that I do, any successes that I have is because not based on merit, which many people say they want, but because I'm Black and I'm a woman, right? When I see what's happening in the news, that drudges up in me. In talking with my old chief of staff, I sort of told her yesterday, I said, the unfortunate thing is that I've chosen to work in spaces where people don't see women as politicians, right? Like it's not a thing. You don't think when you ask people what a politician is, typically it's a man. Certainly not a woman of color. And that's something that is not unique to what's happening to Vice President Harris. It is something that happens to many women in many workplaces, no matter what it is. And so I wanted to take time to say that if you feel triggered by what is happening, right, the assault on the assault kind of on womanhood, and the choices that we get to make, right? We're not in a space where we have to, yeah, for full transparency, if I decided to I decided, my husband and I decided not to have a kid right before the pandemic, I would have a 4-year-old right now. And I don't know what my life would look like with a 4-year-old right now. I just don't know. I do not regret that decision. I am super grateful, but I had control of that, right? Me and my husband and I had some semblance of control of how our lives look. And I think that is threatening to a lot of people, to some factions of people, for women to now have control of themselves, for people that were typically oppressed, right? That they've been conditioned to not to be less than them, to be equals. And as I said to the women last week, I believe that it is painful, this unlearning and having to deal with some form of people being just as intelligent, just as capable. It's painful, and it's going to feel like, for some people, it's going to feel like we're oppressing them because of it. And that is far from the case. And so, because of how I know some of this is making me feel, I wanted to take some space on here just to acknowledge that I don't, I don't really, not to say I don't really care. I don't really delve in how people feel about particular parties or things like that. I don't. I do my business of my people, and that's it. But what is happening right now is affecting me, and I feel it. And I imagine that I am not the only one, that the cuts that they're making, I've been cut like that too, in some way, shape, or form. And it's not cool, and it's unacceptable. And I don't care how you feel about Vice President Harris. Um, it doesn't matter. But we wouldn't be having many of these conversations if she was not a woman, if she was not of mixed heritage, because she gets to be both an Indian and a Jamaican woman, right? And it is unfortunate that that white supremacy would say that a drop of black blood makes you black, and so now that's it. Like, she's black, doesn't matter. There's nothing you can do. That's what white supremacy said, right? Unless we unbreak ourselves and say and realize we can be multifaceted. I'm going to go to the comments because I just wanted to say that, and I wanted to honor the heaviness of having to live through this, live in this time as a woman, as a person of color, as a person who just cares for other people, like, period, like all of that. If they don't, it feels bad. So Kristen said, and even if it wasn't affirmative action promote, you still have to be hard charger to promote. There needed to be more diversity and leadership in the ranks, and it needed to happen quickly. Yeah, but sometimes some people, I agree with you that you need to see. I don't think I saw a Black woman in leadership until the tail end of in my field. Wow, I'm trying to think. I can't tell you. That guy had 10 plus years to make cheap before you came on the block. Yep. She said, I would have unhinged on that dude. The choice that I made when that guy came to me was I remember being very calm. I do. And I'm going to say that because being back on that duty station, I'm going to disclose some things that it's like, if it's too much information, it is what it is. But I went to school, and for those of you just joining us, I'm talking about an experience I had in the military. That command that I was at, in Florida, was the same command that I went to school at. So I went back to teach where I learned how to become a cryptologist, and I was assaulted. Like, so I was raped when I was in A school, and I feel like I did a lot of extra mental gymnastics to be cool. And it was something terrible experience with medical, terrible experience with, like, it was a very bad, and I've talked about it before, but there was a certain level of calm that I had being in that duty station. I parked far away from the compound, because we worked in compounds, just so that I can decompress, and coming into work and decompress, leaving work. So it was an exercise. I very calmly dealt with him, and in the long run, he ended up being one of my biggest cheerleaders. He did. If something happened, and I can't remember what it was, but he at some point realized that I wasn't the enemy. I wasn't, and I didn't have to cuss him out or anything. But he did we did have an instance where I did have certain groups of people that were doing the same thing that he did, and he ended up being the one to speak up. While I was out of the room, and everybody was like, let me tell you what he said. And I was like, okay. And I never really acknowledged it. I just let it go. But he became like my bodyguard against all of the BS, which was interesting. The misogyny and racism, real, you are so, and this is so righteous, and so it is the righteous indignation. Yeah, Jackie, you're a class act. Yeah, it is. You're okay blowing up the comments. It is okay. It's okay. I never see. Kristen just said she never had a female boss, and she was actually in the military until like 17 years in. That's real. That's real. And so we have to there's a negotiation of when you're a woman in leadership about how you show up, because much of what's who you choose to show up as will make all the difference of the narrative that people choose to make around you. Being too hard, being too soft. I've been called a bitch, and I've been called a mama bear, and probably everything in between. So like there's a delicate balance. I do not like what's happening publicly. I believe that many people are feeling the cuts and just being a little bit jarred by them. And I just want to acknowledge that it is going to feel personal. I think once we get past Labor Day and we start really seeing the ugly in the news, it'll get even more personal. And you may feel something. Your feelings are valid, but we have a job to do, right? We've got city council folks to elect. We've got school board people to elect. We've got mayors. We've got U.S. senators, and we have a president and vice president to elect. That's it. That's what we have. We still got work to do, no matter how deep it cuts, but we also need to have each other. And that's why, again, these spaces, I just want to make it clear that we're human. We're human. I'm human in this work. And I don't do it to be loved, but I do it to spread love. And sometimes that love can feel painful, but what's happening, this ugliness that becomes commonplace, it's unacceptable. It's not okay. And if you're feeling something, I feel you, and we need to push to do better. I didn't say this, but I meant to. I'm looking at my thing, scroll across the bottom of the screen. This Saturday, I will be the Grand Marshal for the Butterfly Walk. It's called the Social Butterflies. And I meant to have her on. I'm slacking with my cracking. I was supposed to have her come on today, Chastity Corbett. But there's an organization, and scrolling across the bottom of the screen, called the Butterfly, Social Butterfly Foundation. If you don't know, I live with a condition. That's what I call it. A condition called fibromyalgia. What it is it causes widespread pain in my body. I don't know when it's going to come. I don't know how intense it's going to be. I do sometimes know that there are certain times where I can feel that it's coming, or certain conditions, but it's debilitating. There are days where I cannot get out of bed. There are days where the pain is so bad, it onsets a migraine. So I have these things called complex migraines, where my migraines look like I'm having a stroke. I am not having a stroke. I'm just having a very terrible migraine. But this organization is for fibromyalgia and lupus, and they are having their annual walk. And I'm going to put this up here at Boo Williams Sportsplex on Saturday at start time is 1 p.m. It's a donation of $35. I'm just going to be the Grand Marshal, which is pretty cool. I've never done this before. I've never done it before, but I'm excited to be a part over in Hampton at the Boo Williams Sportsplex. So if you get a chance to make it out, come walk with us. the t-shirt is included in your registration. We're just walking for a little bit to raise awareness about lupus and fibromyalgia. Some very lupus, I think, is much more well known than fibromyalgia, and they're creating community, which is what I think we want for each other too. We're trying to create community. I don't see any questions. Fuse Fest is this Saturday too. Let me tell y'all, I'm so sad that I grateful, super glad that I'm going to be doing the butterfly walk. But Fuse Fest is this Saturday. If you are new to the area and you've never been to a Fuse Fest, you gotta go. Okay, it's at Purpose Park, off of it's not on Only. It is on Church Street. Fuse Fest. The kids, they do all the good things out there. There's music. There's all kinds of things. Like I love it. I'm sad that I'm going to miss portions of it, but I'm going to encourage you to go out there. If you don't want to cross the bridge, please go over to Fuse Fest. Show the young people some love. I think my son is performing at 1:00. I'm going to miss that, and that kind of burns my heart. But it's a great opportunity to just get connected with the youth and the community over there. Ms. Charlene says, more than anything else, we need to support each other and refuse to participate in the destruction of other women. Yes, please. Yes, please. The interview, was in very important. Thank you. We did an interview on Channel 13, and it was good. Or Channel 3. Don't beat me up. I couldn't remember. No, we did a couple radio interviews and TV interviews, and just trying to get people to raise some awareness about fibromyalgia. It's definitely something that most people don't know that I live with it. I don't choose to share. I'm saying this. The only reason why I'm sharing it is because this organization found me out. And so now I'm sharing. It's not embarrassing, but it's difficult. I don't want anybody to think I'm not Superwoman, and I don't want anyone to feel some kind of way or sadness or whatever for me. That's my own, and that's me. That's a Jackie problem, not a you problem. But I deal with it. It's hard. I won't lie to you and say it's not hard, but it is difficult, not impossible. All right. If I don't see any questions, I'm about to get up off of here. We've been on here for 37 minutes, and I've been talking. Bottom line of today's chat: put us in your budget, $25 for 2025 a month. Secondly, if you're feeling something, you are not wrong, right? If you're feeling something about the way people, the things I worry about the most is it emboldens other people to behave poorly, as we saw with January 6th. Like, it emboldens them to behave poorly towards women. And I don't like it, and I'm not going to stand for it, but I want our community to galvanize on the fact that we've got elections happening, school board, city council, and mayoral election on top of all of that other stuff. And we're going to make sure that our quality of life right here in Norfolk is aligned with the values that we have as a city. Okay. That's it. That's all. All right. So until next time, I'm Jackie Glass, mama, Navy vet, certified doer, and a laced up legislator for the House of Delegates, 93rd District. Honored to serve. Oh, it says the polyvol theory is worth learning about when it comes to mental health and coping skills. I will write this down. Thank you. I appreciate you, Kristen. But yeah, all of that and then some. I will catch y'all in these streets. Will I? Put me in your budget. All right. Bye, y'all. Make it a great day. See ya.